Alright, look at this mess. Alright, before I attach these walls, because they're just sitting there, I figured I'd show you what I did here. So I was going to build this as one big wall. I figured it'd be easier to split it up, just because there's so much going on up here. So this is the end of this wall, and then that's another wall. So it's not attached yet, and there's going to be a spacer behind it. So it's going to be that far out from the wall, just so that I don't have to put a nailer in, because if it was right up against this wall, there would be nothing to nail to up top. And also there's going to be a pipe running behind this wall for the sink. So yeah, like I said, it's not attached yet. We still have to put it into place and attach it. So you can see up top here, it looks nice. It's the lower height. It avoids those pipes, and of course it'll look nicer once we shim it up and move it. And then I had to box out around these ducts. Look how nice that came out. And then I ended the wall there, and you could see how I'm attaching them. I'm just doing 2 studs, and I kind of have the plates overlapping a little bit. I guess that wasn't completely necessary, but so they'll have to be attached. And then same thing at the bottom. And then I had to box out around this. And then this is actually a separate wall. There's a seam there and a seam there. So these 3 studs are actually separate. I meant to do it as one wall, and then I had to split up the top and bottom plates, so that ended up being separate. And then once we attach them, I'll fill in the studs on the side and then do the top and bottom of the windows. Alright, here's another update, because I just cleaned up. So, finished that wall, and also I finished this little skirt wall, or ladder wall, whatever you want to call it, up here. So that's now complete. And then, so you can definitely see where the lower ceiling will be and where the higher ceiling will be. And then the column. So, this wall was a pain. Like I said, I did it in a few sections, and as you saw, I did the windows afterward. Then you can see the windows came out pretty nice, and there's that gap in between, so it'll look like a real thick wall when it's done. So I had to shim it a little bit to make it perfectly level, but we'll have to clean all that at some point. But it came out real nice. Got my nailer up top there for the drywall. That was a pain. I ended the wall here only because of this stuff, wouldn't be able to quadruple stud there. And as you can see, I didn't have much wiggle room because this stud was my king stud for when I framed out for this thing, and it also was my king stud for the window. So that just happened to be perfect. And then this stud is just because it lands on a 16. It's actually exactly 8 feet from the corner, so the edge of the drywall will be right here for the first sheet. So that's why has to be there. So that's why there's 4 right here. So came out real nice and sturdy. And then over here I cleaned everything up. This was a challenge, trying to figure out how to build this wall, because there's gonna be a wall up against here, but it's not gonna be drywalled because it'll be in the unfinished closet area, which is gonna be here. So the only reason the wall is here is just so we could put insulation in it, and I didn't know how to attach the top of it where this pipe was. So my solution was to build in this bulkhead thing here, and then the wall, like this part of the wall, will go up to the top, and then this part of the wall will just end right here, and it'll nail into that. This thing is nice and strong. And another reason for this is it'll hold the insulation. So it's really important to insulate the top of the walls because that's the part that's exposed, like more to the outside. So we'll be able to cram a bunch of insulation up in that thing and keep that pipe insulated too, just in case it gets cold up in there. So that's the whole purpose of this. So we made yet another change of plans and decided to put the bathroom in this room, which we originally didn't want to do, but I'm not going to explain why. It's too much to explain. So anyway, I took these studs out, took this bottom plate out, and I had to buy 2 more sheets of this insulation. Should be nice and dry now. I glued it up. We'll put tape on it like the other stuff. And you can see these walls. So, but my challenge, yet another challenge to basement framing is, and I was trying to find this online, like a good way to do this, and I couldn't find any good like methods. And some other people had the same issue. Like, how do you attach a top plate there? I had a similar issue over here. Like, this wall would not fit behind the pipe, like, at least on this part of it. So how do you attach it to the ceiling? Because this has to be attached to the ceiling. This part, this isn't, I guess, as bad, because, I don't know, it's attached there. I still like it to be attached to the ceiling. So what I did is I built that little wall coming down, and then a wall behind it out of 2x3, so it's skinnier. So it's just 2 of these ladder walls, and then I did the horizontal members. So it's like just a soffit basically, and it's nice and strong. It doesn't sway or anything like that. And then this wall is attached to the bottom of it, and when you pull on it, it's super strong. It's not going anywhere, so it's anchored nice and tight to the ceiling. However, I don't really want to do that in this area because it's going to be weird, because there's going to be a lowered ceiling on this side of the bathroom, and I don't know, I just couldn't really, and plus I can't fit another little ladder wall behind this pipe. It would just be here. So I could anchor a board to the wall into the concrete and do the same type of thing. I don't want to mess with that. So I have a solution, and instead of explaining it, I'll just show it to you. But the fact that we have a lowered ceiling helps. Yeah, so one other thing just to add to the difficulty of this is, for some reason, I think the concrete's unlevel. I think the ceiling is level. I think it's the concrete, but it's actually like an inch shorter here than it is here. So every stud that I cut here needs to be custom measured instead of just consistent. Like, and when they built the house, it was the same problem, because I noticed hold on. I noticed on these studs, because I didn't build the 2 walls on the other side of the steps, they were here when they built the house. They have numbers on these ones too. So they wouldn't number them if they were all the same length. So they had to cut these to be custom length too. So yeah, it's a pain. All right, well, we're almost done. Um, so I framed in the bathroom. If you saw, we took out the wall that I had framed in here because we decided to add the bathroom. So took that out, put this wall in. It was a hard one to build with the pipe and all this. And yeah, so we were gonna, like I said, we are gonna have the floor raised up. And then we decided, or I figured when I was looking in here at what the ceiling height would end up being, with the fact that we have to lower it down for that, and then we were going to raise it up to this for a landing. Ceiling was only going to be like 7 foot something, which would have been like right here, right above the door, and I felt like that was too low. So we decided not to raise the floor. So this is going to be the final floor height. So because of that, that means we don't have as much room for this door, because we would have had from here to the corner. Now we only have from here to the corner. So I forget what I framed. I think I did a 28-inch door, which that I think is a 30 or a 32-inch door, which is like the standard. And then this is just a little bit more narrow, but it's still nice and comfortable. I thought we were gonna have to go with a 24-inch door, but this should work fine. It'll be a little bit tight there with the Alright, so almost done with framing down here. We have these walls attached. So you'll see that's the entrance to the closet. And then have this big wide opening. I still need to do the little walls on either side. It'll just be an indent, then I have to do the little ceiling there. A 1 foot indent for the TV, which will be right on this wall. And then this is the entrance, of course, and in this nook there's going to be a wine thing. So later on, after we drywall and everything, there's going to be a box, a wood box that's going to go back about a foot, and it's going to have like an X pattern in it with like this nice dark stained wood, and it's going to hold like wine bottles and things like that. Finally got this wall fixed, but like I said, the problem is you've got this whole finished wall that's running parallel with the steps, but the steps are a little bit like turned this way with the house. So when we build this wall, naturally that corner's not square. The corner's actually, it was like in like this, and we want the corner to be 90 degrees, so we had to bend that bottom plate out to make that corner 90 degrees, which means up here we had to bend the wall, and then we had to bend the top plate, which was really hard to do. So the wall looks good now. It looks straight. Everything's plumb. The corner's square. Everything. Technically, the wall's a little bit bent, but you can't even, like, I can't even notice it. It's so, like, not noticeable. But what was really important was that the drywall right here was nice and consistent with what's existing. So then the part that we had to bend was only from here on. So we had to bend that piece of wood quite a bit, because look at, you could see the joist right there is flush with it, and over there it's like more than an inch away from it. So I guess that's what you get when you're framing a basement. But and then of course that messed up some of these walls. We were trying to attach these bathroom walls, which still aren't attached yet. So we made this corner square, made that corner square, made that corner square, and then this one's not square. So then we make this one square, and then another one's not square. So because of the fact that these stupid steps were installed crooked, and I don't mean big crooked, I'm talking like 1 degree or like a fraction of an inch, but it makes a difference. Just because they're a little bit crooked, this not going to be perfectly square, but there's going to be a sink here, a toilet there, or vice versa, and so that'll be okay. If we do tile in here, you might see it. So I still don't know what kind of flooring we're doing. If we do like wood, it'll look good. But all right, so this is it. Framing is done. I'll give you a tour. So finally got this stupid wall fixed. What we had to do, and like I said in the last video, steps were crooked this way, so we made it straight here, shot it down into the concrete, line this up with the drywall so it'll be a smooth drywall transition, put some screws in up to this point, And then we made that corner square by forcing the wall as hard as we could over this way, shot that down, and screwed it into that wall. And then the last thing that was giving us problems is the top of the wall. Since it's all boxed out and weird and all that, the top of the wall wouldn't bend over because there's a screw here, so it wouldn't like bend. So what we had to do is took out these cripple studs, so it was just the top plate. We put a ton of force on that top plate, had to move it over like more than an inch and a half, I think it was. Put the screws up in there, then added the cripple studs back in. So this wall has a slight curve to it, nothing that you can even notice. I don't know if you can even see it. Nothing you'll notice unless you're looking for it. But what's important, and that was the only solution, what's important is that drywall looks good, it's nice and plumb, corners are square, it'll be perfect for the door. So we still have to cut that out. But and then I framed in just today, we framed in this bulkhead, and then did a little ceiling under here. There will be some can lights under here, and then I came out a little further than that drain pipe because we have to run a vent on the left side of it going through there for the sink, and there'll be a sink and a toilet or vice versa, whatever, on that wall. So it's pretty wide in here. It's 6'6", a little bit oversized, but that's good. Frame the ceiling down. They're just resting. It's resting like you would build a second floor. I put a rim joist up there just so I could screw something into the top of those, and so they don't like wobble. I guess it doesn't matter, but it's resting on there and then screwed into the side of that, into the storage area, that is. So yeah, frame this in like I said. Come through here, box this out for a wine niche thing. I don't know how you even say that word, but it's going to be an indent in the wall, so it's going to go back 12 inches, which is about to there, and it's going to be like like a dark stained wood built-in unit with like diagonal slats, like pretty big ones, and you could put wine bottles in there for display. So I wanted to do that, and I was trying to design something. I didn't know what size to make it, so we just went on Google and found actually something on Pinterest that was this exact size. I'm like, oh, I'll see if it fits. Put it in the Google SketchUp model, and it fits perfect. It's like really perfect for that wall. So we did it and talked to a guy who I used to work with whenever I did plumbing for this company, and he does all the woodwork, like all the fancy. They do all kinds of fancy built-ins and all that. And he came out here and looked at this, and he's like, oh yeah, I could build that. So he said he can even build it off-site, carry it down here, put it in place, trim it, nail it in, and so he'll do that later. We don't have to worry about that. And then he'll probably do this, like the fancy railing later on. We asked him if he could do all the trim and the casing. He actually taught me how to do trim years ago when I was working with them, and because we don't have a brad nailer, we're probably gonna end up buying one. But we asked if he could do that. He's like, well, you only have 3 doors. I could just show you how to do it. I'll do one door, and then you can do the other ones. And so he's gonna come out and help us with all that when we get to that point. But so yeah, I walk into here. Got this all done, framed in the second half of this column. It's not done yet. It's not attached because, as you can see, this one's attached. And when you hit it, see it's got a good amount of flex to it. And I know the drywall will act as like a brace, so it won't do that as much. But it's only drywall, and if somebody's like running and they hit it, I don't want to crack the drywall. So before I attach this one, I'm going to get a big sheet of plywood and put it on the back side of either one of these, and it's going to be a real strong brace. It'll keep it from moving at all, and then that'll strengthen that. And then finish this area. So this is the couches will be back here somewhere, or maybe even next to the column, but they have room to come back. And so I'm breathing in like insulation. You have plenty of space to the TV. This is roughly a little more than 8 feet wide, actually. It goes back a foot. This is 16 inches. And so it's just indented to give a little bit more room to the TV. That's the vent they have to tie into. So yeah, TV will be on this wall, and then by the egress window you have a door, which is entrance to the closet. So it'll be all unfinished. We're gonna do drywall probably up to like this point, but it's all gonna be unfinished back here. This wall will be insulated, not this wall, but this far wall will be insulated. And then there's the dead sewer main that was going out here that had nothing in it. We busted that out. My dad filled in concrete there. So yeah, and then the bar is built. I don't know if I showed you that yet, but built the bar, real nice and good. Put it in place. Looked great and nice and sturdy, and everything doesn't move at all. And then I put the level on it, and it was way off level because the concrete, and actually, I don't know if I said yet, but that window leaks. It's just the window, actually where the window touches the concrete, it's not sealed. We already bought a sealer for it. We just have to go out and seal it. But the window leaks, and whenever it rains, it's fine, but whenever there's like driving wind and the rain's coming at an angle, it kind of gets in here, and the water comes down the wall, and the puddle actually forms right about here. So that shows you how the concrete's sloped. So the this end of the bar was lower, so I took all the screws out, and I actually have to shim it up that much. So I'm in the process of doing that. I'm not going to worry about it for right now. I'll finish it later. But pretty soon, before we drywall, we'll have to build in the back part of the bar. The kegerator thing is going to be right here, and then this is I think 42 inches, and then the counter height will be right about here, and then we'll build basically do like a beam, maybe a 2x4 or 2x6 all the way across, and then it'll be supported inside the wall. Probably gonna have to, I already bought a 4x4, probably gonna have to do a 4x4 post in the middle. The sink is either gonna be here or it's gonna be in the back counter. Still haven't decided that yet. And then counters will go all the way back here, like 4 of them I think, and then there's gonna be an under counter fridge, which we already bought. It's upstairs, it looks really nice. That'll be there, and then this area, nothing changed. Got all my scraps. This all has to go back to Home Depot. Was gonna frame in the soffit, like a little bulkhead over the bar, because I've noticed a lot of finished basements have that when I was looking at pictures, and I thought it would look nice, but the window's weird there. We'd have to kind of go into the window, and so we changed our mind on that. So all those 2x3s can go back, and then this will all probably get burned or something. I don't know. So yeah, plenty of room back in the unfinished area under the steps back here. Back in this area, plenty of space. So it's finally done. Like I said, still have to do the column, still have to finish the bar, still have to cut that thing out. Besides that, we're pretty much done. So got all the nailers in I just realized I forgot to put a nailer up right in there and need a nailer, so I'll do that in a minute. But got it all swept. All the holes were drilled for electrical. We bought all the electrical boxes, bought all the candle lights are upstairs. We bought the toilet, we bought the 2 pumps, got the fridge. I don't know, my dad's been buying all that stuff, so we have plenty of that. And so I'm leaving for a work trip tomorrow for a week, and while I'm gone, he's gonna put the can lights in place. He already started measuring for all the electrical boxes and trying to figure out where he wants them, all the light switch boxes, and he's gonna put all them in. We have a guy already came out and looked at it. He's going to come out this week, and he's going to wire everything, do all the electrical, get it all roughed in. He's going to do all the plumbing, get the vents ran, get the drains and all that hooked into the pumps. And then we weren't going to do it, but he recommended we do some HVAC down here, because he made a good point that if it gets hot, if there's a lot of people down here, it's going to get hot. So, it feels perfectly comfortable right now, and it never doesn't. It's always nice down here, but with a lot of people, it might get warm. So, after we're done with everything, we're going to do probably a wall unit. Because he said not to tap into this. So, we have to do a wall unit. That'll cool and heat. You won't need to heat, I don't think, but it'll cool. But, or maybe it'll be over there, I'm not sure. So, but yeah, so he'll do that next week. And then once that's all finished and we get all the electrical and everything done, and we'll go buy a whole bunch of insulation. Probably take 1 day to insulate all this, 2 of us, and then once that's done, it's going to be a little bit of a break, because we're not going to drywall before the New Year's, because we got too much going on. Me and my dad both work in retail, so it's going to be way too busy to be doing that. So right after the new year, before my next semester starts, we're going to order a whole bunch of drywall. Just bringing it down here is going to take a whole day, I think. And then he'll take a couple days off. I'll have a couple days off. And we'll get all the drywall hung in probably 2 or 3 days. And then I can tape and mud it all on my own. I don't need help with that. I've done at least 2 or 3 houses before, like on mission trips and stuff. So I know how to do that. But yeah, so that'll be after the new year. So